Good afternoon, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of UCAN, European Universities Continuing Education Network, I would like to welcome you to the second session of UCAN 2022 Open Fora event. I would like to thank you for your attention and engagement in this special event to deal with the third mission of higher education. I would like to give the floor to Kirstin and to provide this special reflection of some advancements in project work of UCAN in a very specific context, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Balázs. I'll just share my slides with you. Hopefully you can see them, and hopefully if I open them like this, you'll be able to see my slides. Yep. And are they changing? Yep. Oh, excellent. That's always something that goes Perfect. Wrong with
everything is fine.
Excellent. Okay, great. So as Balázs said, I'll be talking a bit about one of UCAN's projects, specifically IncludeMe, which is all about intercultural mediation. And so I'll first give you a bit of an idea of what intercultural mediation is, or how it's defined within the framework of the IncludeMe project. And then I'll talk a bit about the goals of IncludeMe, especially in relation to higher education institutions. And then finally, I'll give you a brief overview of the tools that have come out of the project and how they contribute to higher education's third mission as well. So intercultural mediation, the term is made up of these two concepts, interculturality and mediation. And I think this ties really well to what Mary was just talking about mutuality being a key concept. So interculturality is the idea that the integration of migrants or other ethnic minority groups, for example, requires a reciprocal adaptation between the host society and the new members of that society. So it's this mutual process rather than a process of assimilation or adaptation. And then we've got the idea of mediation, which, as I'm sure you know or you're aware of, is an alternative form of conflict or dispute resolution, in which there is a mediator, and that person or that organization enables the different parties to take responsibility for finding a solution. So it's more of a bottom-up, a grassroots kind of approach to conflict resolution. Intercultural mediation can take place in a wide range of contexts, so formal or informal, in different cultural, social, economic contexts or scenarios, and it can happen through different types of interventions. So really there isn't a fixed model or a fixed approach for intercultural mediation. But in general, we can say that intercultural mediators act as a bridge between individuals and institutions from different cultural backgrounds. So in terms of what intercultural mediation can bring to communities and to individuals as well is a greater sense of social cohesion. So by promoting a change in attitude towards conflicts and community, intercultural mediation can foster a stronger sense of belonging within a community. But at the same time, it can empower individuals, or it can empower people on an individual level by improving their leadership and communication skills, which are key to the whole process of mediating. It's also got some practical benefits. It's more cost effective and ethical than other types of conflict resolutions because it avoids formal legal action. And it can also ideally lead to tailored solutions whereby the different parties can agree on something. And in general, having this process means that these agreements are more likely to be accepted by the different parties. So it's kind of has benefits on different levels, both for individuals and communities. Then moving to the IncludeMe project, which is a partnership made up of a partnership of different European organizations and universities. So I'll come to that in a second, but the idea of the IncludeMe project is to address this gap that exists of intercultural mediators. So because intercultural mediation is a relatively new field, not many people have been trained as intercultural mediators or as peer-to-peer mediators, and therefore IncludeMe aims to get universities in particular involved in training individuals as intercultural mediators, and by doing so to then also encourage them to become more engaged in other civic issues in their wider community and society. It's also aiming to change or transform universities internally, so by supporting higher education lecturers to include these kinds of topics and classes in their own teaching, and to become mediators themselves as well, and then by doing so to improve and increase the participation of students or learners from migrant or other disadvantaged backgrounds in higher education, and overall to increase a sense of greater social responsibility among actors both within and outside of higher education. So really it's got a whole range of target groups and effects beyond just universities. So as I said, IncludeMe is led by a consortium of different organizations. You can see them on this slide here. And as part of the project, 3 outputs were produced: the Good Practice Guide, an open education resources kit, and a massive open online course. And I'll tell you a bit about each of them. So the Good Practice Guide, here's a QR code in case you want to scan it and check it out for yourselves. It was a compilation of exemplary initiatives relating to intercultural mediation. So cases were collected from 7 different countries, the 7 countries of the organizations in the consortium, which were 6 European countries and Turkey. Overall, 29 examples were collected, not just from higher education institutions, but also from NGOs, public institutions, and other partnerships. And at the end of the Good Practice Guides, a list of conclusions and recommendations were drawn together, which targets different stakeholders. So we have the recommendations for higher education institutions, which include setting up awareness raising campaigns around intercultural mediation, of course, setting up permanent spaces for dialogue on intercultural mediation and intercultural mediation practices themselves, to encourage access and participation of migrants and refugees. That was always very central to the project. And to just, yeah, as I said, raise awareness, launch debates, make this a more widely discussed topic. And then the project also made some recommendations at the EU level, specifically to establish a definition and some standards for training for intercultural mediators and for the use of mediation at European level, and also to make sure that good practices deserve or get the recognition and yeah, the attention that they deserve, and can serve as a source of inspiration for other higher education institutions. Then another output of the project were the open educational resources, which you can also find online. I'll have the link at the end of the presentation. So these were really a flexible set of resources for higher education staff, consisting, as I'll show you later, of different modules which can be mixed and matched. They also included a teacher's guide to explain how to make the best of these resources, and an explanation of the different topics, as well as interactive resources. So again, I've got the QR code here for you in case you want to scan that and look it up online. But as I said, the open educational resources consist of 5 modules which cover everything from basic skills, so communication skills, leadership skills, as I said before, but also issues such as the barriers to intercultural mediation, as well as how novice intercultural mediators could address them. There are modules on how to use social media platforms to raise awareness on this issue, and to also address wider policy change, and that's in fact a whole module in itself, affecting change. So the module is the resources, the course is very well-rounded, very holistic, and at the end there are also some resources and some information about how intercultural mediators may gain funding for their activities. So there's information on resources, on reaching out to other stakeholders, and so on. Given that intercultural mediation is such a community-wide approach, yeah, that is covered in the resources as well. And then finally, based on the resources that were developed, we've just launched a massive open online course, the IncludeMe MOOC, which basically offers a self-guided pathway to the resources that have been developed. And it will also include a pre-course survey, a guide to working in the online learning space, and discussion facilities, which will enable peer-to-peer communication from different aspiring intercultural mediators in different regions. So that is now that has just been launched and is in the testing process. So again, if you would like to scan the QR code, check this out online, and test the IncludeMe MOOC for yourselves, that would be great. That is all I wanted to say about IncludeMe. If you have any questions about it, go ahead. Or if there's any, if there are any comments on how this relates to the third mission, I'd be very happy to hear them.
It does.
Thank you.
I mean, it is obviously a very significant practical implication of all those principles that make universities to respond to people in vulnerable situations. So I think this is something very obvious, very, very important, and a profound example what can be the benefit for, I mean, the mutual benefit for both an educational organization and local regional partners being affected very much with challenges like migration and all other things. Comments, questions, reflections?
If I may?
Yes.
I have one very practical question to you. Thank you for your presentation. So your MOOC, on which platform is it?
So, Karma, would you like to?
No,
I believe it's a Moodle MOOC.
So is it on edX or is it on Coursera, or where is
At
it?
the moment, it's in the testing phase.
Ah, okay.
But you can already get there, look at it and use it and send feedback. That would be really good. But I'm not completely sure where it's going to be available when it's finally launched, the complete version. Sorry.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Other comments or reflections to this project presentation?
I think it's excellent, Kirstin. It just brings in this whole new dimension, doesn't it, about the need for us to move beyond place and the intersections of place in this complex and challenging world. So it's fascinating. It'd be great if you could speak to the University Association for Lifelong Learning on the project in the UK as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and also it shows you can to demonstrate sensitive focus on societal issues. And I think this is something very much to underline how we claim that we are the higher education body for university lifelong learning in Europe. And I think this is something very much urgent, that we try to deliver that specific knowledge transfer and academic dialogue around with a number of stakeholders. where and how to develop inequality concerns. Thank you so much, Kirstin. Thank you. And now I would like to give, sorry, Olesya, please, you put your hand. Sorry.
Thank you. Oh, Balázs, I'm very glad to see you because 10 years ago I met you in Malta at the conference.
Yeah, I remember.
In
that.
November, well, 10 years
Oh,
ago.
lovely.
But,
yes.
Yeah, but now I'd like to ask a question to Kirstin because, well, I was greatly impressed by your presentation because at our university where we have students of many nations, well, we didn't have such a project. Well, it is only declared that we, the teachers, should be tolerant, we should know the culture of those students, well, we should develop any relations, good relations in an academic group. And I was impressed that you have shown us really a scientific background for this. So I would like to ask, well, are you planning to develop your project? Maybe if you need any other countries to participate in your project, well, I can write you my email. Well, because we are multicultural university in the south of Russia near Ukrainian border, and well, I would like to take part in your project. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kirstin, would you like to react?
Well, thank you very much. That's very flattering and also very interesting. I mean, I know that there might be a follow-up IncludeMe project in the works, so I don't know if that's something that could be expanded on, but yes, I think intercultural mediation, well, what makes it such an important topic is that it's really it obviously transcends boundaries, and it finds application, I think, in all contexts, even ones that aren't necessarily evidently diverse, you know, ethnically or culturally. I think even in seemingly more homogeneous contexts, intercultural mediation has a lot to offer. So thank you for your input, and I'm glad it was interesting to you.
Thank you so much.